All right, well, welcome back to On Point of View. I'm now joined by Michael Farlekas, who is the CEO of Onit. Welcome to CLOC. How are you enjoying the show?
I'm loving it. Thanks so much for having me. It's great.
Yeah?
It really is good.
How do you like being in Chicago this year versus Vegas?
Well, it's interesting. Vegas is big, but this venue seems bigger. So it seems like there's more people here. Although I think the people I've heard talk was not as intimate. And I think it's because it's more spread out across all the different, hotels and different venues. But it definitely has hit the big time because, Chicago's the biggest conference center, I think, in the States maybe. But the Conference Center is fantastic. And I haven't been here for a while and it's really been upgraded. So I'm happy it's here.
Yeah, it's been great. Thousands of us here in one place.
Yeah.
So Nick and I talked about this earlier, but one of the big themes at this show has clearly been AI. We had a keynote.
What's AI?
Nick, would you like to? I don't know. Actual interns, we used to say. But AI everywhere. And if you look around the conference floor, everything is an AI first solution or an AI native solution.
Yeah.
Really interested from your perspective. Where are you seeing the market heading and how is Onit really differentiating themselves?
There's a lot in that question.
Yeah.
I'll tackle them in parts. So obviously AI is a new technology. It's fundamentally different than kind of almost anything we've seen in the past. Now, it's new, but it's not that new now. No, it's been, how long? 3 years since Chat came out with their...
Yeah, about 3 years. 2023.
2023, which seems like a long time. But in the beginning days, it was a toy. And now you start to see it evolve into a business tool. But it's still early. And I think now what you're seeing is everybody trying to understand, everybody, I mean, the technology providers, the service providers, the legal operations folks, the actual lawyers. How do I apply this technology to my use case or to what I'm trying to accomplish to make me better and more efficient? So everybody's trying to run to the same place and we're all trying to figure this out together. So that's why you see a lot of AI talk without a lot of specifics. Now that'll refine itself over the next period of time, but it's a transformative technology. You see that by its use because it can make software just a lot smarter. And then to answer your question about how does Onit fit in, we're a system of record. So we help companies understand where they're spending money. We help them understand and make sure that the money they're being charged is actually appropriate. And we help them manage all the internal matters. That's a great place to start. We're a system of record across 4,000 clients and we have a network of 10,000 attorneys. We are now actively incorporating AI into the product itself to make the product a lot smarter. So you'll see our tools be tools like you'd expect, but also that our system will just make decisions and prompt you for more things that you want to do next. So we see it incorporating it in a very significant way. We've already have done that. Things like Spend Agent, Ask Unity, and that's going to evolve really quickly.
And that connects a lot to a message I keep hearing at the conference, which I think is a mature part of the conversation, which is the ROI isn't in the AI. The ROI is in your workflow and it's in sitting inside your data. And I think people are cottoning onto the fact that you really have to have your data organized, you need to have your processes organized before you just throw the AI in at it in order to truly get sustaining value. And so I think that kind of connects to your point about the workflows, the system of record.
Absolutely. And companies operate on processes and the processes have to be repeatable. And these tools make individual people really more efficient, but we had to make the process more efficient as well. So I think that's where our angle is. How do we make the overall process more connected, more inclusive, and more efficient overall?
So a question for both you and Nick. A lot's been happening in our space, the legal space for AI. So we had an open source alternative to your Harvey Lagoras come out, Mike OS, which I think was built in like a week.
2 weeks.
2 weeks, okay, very quickly. And it's open source and free and available. We also heard that Anthropic is really focusing in on legal. As a buyer in this space, how do you recommend you make sense of all of this?
Yeah. I'll you start, Nick.
Making sense? I think it's too hard. It's hard to make sense right now. I think that we're in a disruptive wave, or Michael says, like this transformative period. So I think there's an element of you have to experiment, but I wouldn't get caught up in the hype so much, right? I think that there's a lot of flash coming out, and I think you have to test that, use it, understand where that's going to go, how that's going to shape your business and how you work. But you have fundamentals that you have to do every day. You have to figure out how you can do those efficiently. And I think there is nothing that I've seen at the moment that is just a slam dunk. I think that the market is going to be unsettled for a while, so you have to be exploring. But I think I just don't think that anybody can sit here and say, okay, now it's time, I'm going to do everything this new way. So I would just be cautious.
Then how do you start? Like, how do you
start? You immediately, like, I think some of the good things that you see with Claude is that, like, it's $20 to get this running on your computer, right? Mm-hmm. Like, it's not a big investment. So you can try these things. I think the longevity, or like there's no risk in that as an organization. So I think exploring with multiple tools is useful, or looking for partners, and I'll plug us, looking for partners who are already established and have a broad set of tools that you can actually use, I think is quite useful as a legal team, because bringing on a new vendor can be time consuming, going through the security processes can be time consuming, learning a new interface can be time consuming, getting somebody to log in to something else can be time consuming. All of that stuff has to be prioritized if you're the buyer, because you only have so much time in your day with your legal operations team and your lawyers to set aside to do something that isn't core.
Yep. From my perspective, lock-in is probably the thing you avoid at this point. So, the market hasn't really formed and hasn't really decided what the right product, market fit is. So there's a lot of people running at the same problem. Then some of these experiments will be great and be the right thing, and some won't. So if I was a buyer, I would really think about in terms of no regrets decisions, and then those things that are experiments, treat them as experiments, and be explicit about that. So the things that what you want to do and can have clear line of sight and know everything, then those are the things you should lean in on. And the things that look like experiments, treat them like experiments. Try it out, try multiples, but don't get locked in until you can actually draw the straight lines from this product to this use to this value. And then at that point, you can incrementally get locked in. And that'll happen over time. But for now, it's really a matter of feeding what's out there, experimenting, learning, and then trying it out.
I mean, I just think about how quickly things change. You have a new model like every 3 months. And right now, Anthropic is the darling child. But I rewind and think, like, not that long ago, OpenAI was the darling child. And so our sentiment and who's good, who's evil, it keeps changing. So I think really valid around lock-in.
And who's going to exist in 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, right?
Yeah.
Like, a lot of these players have good ideas that are going to either be wiped out by somebody else, or they're going to be consumed by another company, right? Not all of these tools are going to make it to being profitable.
That's right.
That's a good point. So with the AI Center at Onit, one thing you guys have done, or we have done, is do a lot of R&D. And Matt mentioned we've got Olava. Do you both want to share a bit about that, talk about why we're doing it, and then what does that mean for the market?
Yeah, I'll kind of give you the overview, and I'll turn it over to Nick. So what it means to me is that we control our own destiny, and we can offer things that others can't. It's really clear that AI is going to be integral to every piece of software people use in lots of different ways. So having our own model and being fortunate enough to have the expertise and team members that can build our own model means that we can think about the problem a little bit differently, which is, how do we create safe spaces where the AI can live, especially in legal, where confidentiality and privilege is really fundamental, and trust is fundamental. Without that, you don't really have anything. So we can offer, with our own model, for our own tools, we can offer a place where companies can literally be sure and fundamentally secure in their own space. So we can say, we're going to deploy this solution in your own space. So it's not going to go out to the wild. and there's no chance of your data getting out because we're going to secure it right now. So it fundamentally changes the proposition so that we're in control of our customers' product, they're in control of it. And then also from a cost perspective, we can really make sure that we have a cost structure that's supportive of our customers, so we don't get in a situation like you get in now, which is, you use it and all of a sudden they get shut off. Like, that's no good. Like, how do you run a business like that? Or how do I run a business where I don't know what's going to cost me? So everybody starts using it, and all of a sudden you get the bill, and it's like, I didn't know it was going to cost me this money. So since we have control of the cost side, and we have control of what environments it is, we can control the use and to protect the privacy and security and privilege, and also have a cost structure that's predictable and knowable. So fundamentally, that's why it's really important to us, and I think fundamentally different than what anybody else really is bringing to the table today.
Yeah, and I think we can make smarter products because of it, better than the frontier products. I think that's a wild idea. I think Gene, you'll know this, we built models for a very long time, and GPT came along, and it really changed like the economics, the effort it took to create a model. It used to take us, like 6 days a week, 10 hours a day of a team of people annotating data for us, right? Very manual tasks to build up the data we needed to create models. And then the process we'd go through to actually create those models. And then GPT came along, and it's like, oh, well, this thing just works. A lot of the market gave up on that kind of build your own model approach. And I think that as I said, it's a brute force for something that, or as you said, it's now like these models are so big that just like throwing a net as opposed to spearfishing. And the challenge is that the economics of that industry are just not there. The big players, yeah.
I have a question for Nick. Can I ask a question? Or is that
please do. Go ahead.
You can't stop me in mid-thought.
No. I'm curious because I haven't really sorted out an answer in my own mind. And I'm sure our audience is like, what about this? How is it possible a company like Onit, we're a big company, but not as big as like frontier model companies. How is it possible really for us to think we can build a model that's better than the frontier models when they're spending billions and billions of dollars on this? Like, I never really reconciled in my mind how that's possible. Maybe you can help me understand that.
So I think the big challenge for the frontier models is that they're trying to solve everything, right? And so they're trying to build these models that are just generalized, they're running for AGI. And I think that's fundamentally a esoteric kind of goal to have, when really you have these narrow industries that have specific problems that this technology is actually really good at. It's kind of like somebody saw this technology and decided, let's do everything with it, as opposed to the first step, which is let's go down a narrow path and do that really well. So the algorithms, the architectures of the models, these are all academic. They're open to the academic world. We fortunately have some very smart academics in our business who have been building models for a decade plus. We have access to data that we have legitimate access to. And so good talent, data, understanding of the actual model architectures, and the fact that we aren't having to solve for everything, we're just solving for the problems that we know we have to solve for, allow us to build models that are quite powerful.
Oh, so it's the expertise we have of the problem and the expertise we have of building models combined with a technique to test these models at 10 times faster than we could in the past.
Yeah.
Those three things combined allow us to build a model that's small, super accurate, and way less expensive, while at the same time being just fundamentally better for our task at hand. Is that kind of how I think about it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we narrow the scope.
Narrow the scope. Okay.
And Nick and I and Ravindu have had the benefit of making a lot of mistakes back in the day.
Absolutely, a decade of mistakes, right?
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of things that we've done wrong or learned from, and I think that's one of the benefits that you have if you can move fast, you can learn fast. Yeah. And there's one of the benefits.
Fail fast, right? Fail
fast. I say learn fast. I think learning is a nicer way of saying failing.
Yeah.
Well, you really fail if you don't take a lesson from it.
Yeah, right.
So I want to spend just a minute talking about small language models. So I think that there is a future for domain-specific models as signaled by Anthropic, focusing in on legal, but there's also a future for small language models, and you touched on some of the benefits around security and your data not moving around. But I generally don't think, if you know the problem you're trying to solve, you don't need a generalized, ginormous model that can also write poetry and solve calculus to solve the problem for you. It's much friendlier on the environment as well, better for cost. But I mean, Nick, I know you've got some thoughts on small language models being proliferated in the future and being kind of the next thing.
Yeah, I think you're starting to see these, this is very technical, but you're starting to see this mixture of expert architectures where you have small parts of models really focused on a narrow domain and being combined into bigger models. And I think it is far more efficient. And I think you're saying like there's an environmental side to that, which is good, but I think there are plenty of other environmental problems in the world rather than data centers at the moment. But when you're talking about, if you're talking about scarcity of resource, the electricity to the data centers that don't exist, the data centers that don't exist, the GPUs that don't exist, those are constraints that exist now. That's the reason why token price is being heavily discounted. The reality is it shouldn't be as cheap as it is because these models are so big and the resources there to supply them do not exist. And so small language models become very important because they're just not resource intensive. You're talking at a point where you will see these models being able to run on your laptop. That capacity already exists. You don't have to go build the biggest data center in the world to help you write your shopping list faster and write an email to somebody because you don't know how to
add things together.
Yeah.
Michael, what else can we expect to see from Onit this year? Any interesting news to share?
Ton. We have so much coming out. We're shipping product like crazy. We launched at Legal Week Unity, and that we're in the process of converting. Most of our customers onto that will be done in June, which is exciting. Has AI built in. We launched LSR at Legal Week. We had a press release where we're launching RFPs, which is built into the matter management solution. That's really powerful. We also have a unique way of offering more value to our clients, where we're going to give each client, a certain number of RFP events per year as part of their base subscription. So we're, adding more value to what they currently have, and we think we have a better product as well. Where we're going next is really about leveraging the fact that we have 4,000 clients and 10,000 law firms connected together. That's a really powerful concept, because if you think about how legal works today, it's way over the wall, meaning most of it's done through email, honestly. So companies are taking the most important, secure, confidential information, and they're communicating it to lots of people in the most insecure way possible. There's got to be a better way. So we see our network evolving to have many more use cases where we are connecting and collaborating between the inside counsel and the outside counsel, making them more efficient and making them way more secure. The first step of that is RFP, where what will happen is we issue an RFP, it'll show up in what our attorney customers are already using today. They'll show up as a response tool for them. So they can receive an RFP and respond to an RFP all in the same solution. Makes it way more efficient. So you think about the whole turnkey approach to that is, I get an LSR, I understand what that matter needs to be, I automatically kind of know if I should put it out to RFP. That could be halfway started based on the type of LSR request it is. To start the RFP, I hit a button, goes to my attorneys, and I can find out where new attorneys are, comes back in, then we can turn that into a billing rule. Then an AI can look at that and put that right into the billing rules to make it completely turnkey. So that's where we're heading, and we think this is the first step to a lot more things, where we can start having direct workflows between our customers, which are the corporate counsels, and the outside counsel, making their lives a lot easier, more efficient, and secure, and privileged. That's the mission kind of we're on today.
Yeah.
one place to do a lot of things,
Yes.
and then also one place where all of that data is living, because everyone's wanting to ask questions of their data, but hey,
Where is
they're
it?
living in different
Yeah.
places, email inboxes, different tools. So yeah,
That's
I really
correct.
love that.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Right.
I have a question.
Oh, awesome.
Completely off point.
Go
but
for it.
Oh, good. What are we talking about? Baseball, football, soccer?
if
What?
you could be a CEO, two-parter. If
He is
you
the
could be a CEO of any company right now,
Oh, okay.
which company would it be? And if you, what would be the one company you wouldn't want to be CEO of right now?
Oh, well, I'm going to take Onit out of it because obviously I have to say Onit, right?
Yeah.
So let me give you a type of company. And I'll give you the type of company I'd want to be part of, and I'll give you the type of company I would not want to be part of. And I would say this: the type of company I want to be part of is one where we can, as a team and an industry, create something new and additive for the market that makes the market better. And I think that's kind of where I kind of would love to live, because it's more fun that way. What I wouldn't want to be involved or run a company that was really big. It would just be really hard for me to conceive of changing that company. And I like to change things fast. I like to see an opportunity and be quick about how do you seize that opportunity. Work for a really big company, it's just not possible.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be kind of one type of company, and the second type would be a company that's really in a market that there's no real path for it to kind of be super successful. So translating that back to Onit, we obviously are both of the things I love, which is relatively small. We're a big company for our space, but not a really big company overall. And we can move and make changes and see the market, see what's coming next in the market, anticipate that, and skate to where the puck is going. So I love that part of it. And it's small enough where we can actually execute upon that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm right at the spot that I want to be. I couldn't be happier.
Good, because Michael's not available for anyone who's wondering. Any other questions, Nick?
No. Well, I mean, no. I think I would say that we have a unique opportunity. I'm very glad that Michael is running heavy at that.
Yep.
And I'm glad that we have team members like yourself, Jean, and many of the others. We've brought the subject matter expert, the Matt Donaldens of this world, the Jeffs, the Dave Sankars, the Erics. We've got this subject matter expertise really in our business to go execute these things, which I think is often, we talked about this the other day.
Yeah.
That often as you think of these young companies with young people with this passion running really hard, and you think that can be a magic wand, but it's not. Sometimes you need that experience to actually go execute to the degree that our clients are. So I'm actually quite excited. And we talk about being in the right company. That's one of the things that makes Onit a great company at the moment.
And the other great thing is we have some really exceptional customers.
No, we have the best customers in the world.
Right.
Yeah.
Crazy.
This has been a really enjoyable podcast episode. We had a lot of guests come through, Michael, before you, State Street, ADM, Intel. All had really great insights to share about what they're hearing at this event, but also what they're doing internally. So I think that's a wrap for us. It's been an awesome CLOC, first time in Chicago, and really excited to bring this episode to our viewers.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks
for having
you.
me. Appreciate it.
Great.